Since Night of the Living Dead just turned 50 a couple days ago on October 1st, 2018, I figured today would be an absolutely appropriate day to go over the incredibly fractured and convoluted multiverse of the Living Dead franchise. Um, this one, for starters, it was the first new monster archetype that had been introduced into the contemporary cinematic mythology basically since the 40s, since the Wolfman, I believe. He certainly has his roots, the Romero zombie does, in like the Mummy and the Voodoo zombie of the older films, but this is an entirely new animal with an entirely new subtext and a very, very contemporary social, political relevance that continues to adapt to every new generation. The Romero zombie is never going to go out of style. We can't thank him enough. George Romero, God, I miss you terribly. Thank you for everything that you contributed to the genre. So, at some point, Romero and Russo parted ways, John Russo, the screenwriter, and decided to make their own series of Dead films. Romero would choose to use the word dead in his films, and Russo got to use living dead. Interestingly enough, though, his film, Return of the Living Dead, which I'm on the fence right now, I'm debating whether or not I want to have this one encompass Night, because apparently it's a meta-sequel. It exists in a world where Night of the Living Dead was a movie, but a movie based on true events, and that's where the gray area comes in. So right now I feel okay leaving it like it is. I may want to try redoing it later. But The Living Dead, it kept the title, or the two words from the original title, but the zombies themselves are very, very different than the ones that he and Romero created. These zombies can talk, they have intelligence, right out of the gate, they can run, and they eat brains, which to me is still absolutely fucking inexplicable. It makes for great gore effects, so I'm not going to complain. But I know, like, everybody who dresses up as a zombie for Halloween walks around going, brains, and I just fucking hate it, because it's not what real zombies do, goddammit. It's just not. They don't eat brains, they don't talk, they don't run, they eat flesh. They eat warm, living flesh. How could a zombie bite, how could anybody bite through somebody's skull and get at their brain? Much less a zombie with rotting teeth. But it's fun. It's all in good fun. It's a fantastic punk rock comedy classic, and I adore Return of the Living Dead. Slightly less so the sequels, but they're interesting. Ken Wiederhorn, who did the underwater Nazi zombie opus Shockwaves, gave us Return of the Living Dead 2. And then Brian Usna stepped in and gave us Part 3 with the attempt to introduce a new kind of a female monster sex symbol. It worked pretty well, except for the fact that he killed her off at the end of the movie. But Mindy Clark. And then I don't really know right now what happened or how it happened. I'm kind of too apathetic to do a whole lot of research, but the franchise wound up going to director Bill Butler, and 4 and 5 are an alternate universe. There's a fracture here. The tone is completely different, way campier and more amateurish. The rules are a little bit different in this world. The zombie gas, the trioxin, is now spelled differently and has a different number prefix. And by all accounts, these movies are pieces of shit, and I haven't seen them. I might one of these days when I get bored, but you're out of luck until then. So going back to Romero here, Dawn of the Dead, 10 years later, holy fucking shit! Man, oh man. One of those rare instances, in that Godfather 2 kind of a way, where the sequel is better than the original film. That's debatable, but that's where I fall in that debate. I absolutely adore Dawn of the Dead. It's in my top 5. It has been for decades. Day of the Dead is also a very highly beloved film, and begins to show the evolution of the zombies. And I love the idea, metaphorically at least, it doesn't make any sense, but the political and social metaphor is so beautiful that you totally overlook it. The zombies are becoming more human, and the humans are becoming less human. And that is definitely amped up even further in Land of the Dead, which, this is a strange one because two films made after Land of the Dead, Diary and Survival, they are... Okay, Romero, in an interview somewhere, I forget exactly where, on the special features for one of the newer movies, I believe, he called Land, Diary, and Survival the Brubaker trilogy. They're linked together by a soldier character who was named Brubaker in, I think, Land of the Dead, and then he's called, what is he called? Nicotine Crockett in Diary and Survival. But that was just a rights issue. He's supposed to be, according to Romero, the same character. So I have a little dotted line connection here between Day and Land. The principle's the same. The zombies are evolving, and they learn how to use guns. And the thing about Land, my favorite thing about it, is that the philosophy of the movie is that evolution, survival of the fittest, the whole Darwinian concept, it doesn't mean strongest. Fittest does not mean strongest. In fact, in Land of the Dead's universe, fittest means most capable of empathy and compassion. Specifically performing mercy killings to creatures that are suffering, human and zombie. So, we actually have two trilogies, according to Romero here. Diary is kind of a soft reboot. It's a found footage film that takes place at the beginning of the zombie virus, but it takes place in the modern age. So it's kind of the same setup, but decades later. And then Survival, and then Land is the final film of that. It is not, I guess, technically connected to Day of the Dead. Now, sorry for it sounded like Cosby. I didn't mean to do that. Night of the Living Dead was remade twice. It's just that easy because it's in public domain. There was a 3D version with Sid Haig, and a not half bad version in 1990, directed by Tom Savini, featuring Tony Todd, and I forget the name of the lady who played Barbara, but she was fucking kick-ass as well. A really, really not half bad, especially for a remake. You know, there have certainly been some shitty ones out there. My only complaint about it, some of the dialogue was maybe a little too on the nose, a little too, this is how you're supposed to feel. This is what the subtext is. Characters are just saying it out loud, and it's kind of an insult. But the effects are fantastic. I believe the first film to be done by Optic Nerve, which at the time was John Vulich and Everett Burrell, and they did a fantastic fucking job. The 3D one, I haven't seen it, I don't really care. They made a sequel to the 3D one, Night of the Living Dead Reanimation, and I don't really care. Now, going down into the sequels, Dawn of the Dead got a remake by Zack Snyder in 2002, I think it was. A lot of people love this movie. I don't hate it. It is, by process of elimination, my favorite Zack Snyder movie, and that is still not saying much. I don't know, it just leaned a little too hard on the cynicism for me. It felt very 90s still to me in a lot of ways. Just edgy, you know? And then Day of the Dead, oh, that poor movie. It's been remade twice now, I guess. I'm not sure if the 2018 remake has come out yet and sucked, or if it has yet to come out and suck. But 2008, they did one, and then kind of an unofficial sequel called Day of the Dead Contagion, which had Ving Rhames in it and was done by some really shitty filmmakers who also did Creepshow 3. I guess they made a deal with Richard Rubinstein at somewhere along the line. And, oh my god, we made it all the way through. So, yeah, it's fascinating. No one has done a remake of Land of the Dead yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. But this is making me want to watch the original 4 all over again. I'm going to make time for myself to do that at some point during those 31 days of Halloween. And I hope you're getting your movie a day in as well. Be sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Give me some comments. Let me know what you're watching this month. I'm very, very curious. Happy Halloween month.